What is up, Cabbage Crew? It is Matt and John. Just watched the Avatar the Last Airbender Netflix episode 5, Spirited Away. And here is our quick review of it.
It's not
so that sounds like so they again a lot of changes in this episode. I think they did a better job changing things in this episode than they've done in the past. We'll see what you think. So we'll just jump right into how the structure of the episode. Episode starts with them. They came from doing something, which is interesting. I will say that part was interesting because it's showing that they're doing things without us seeing it. And maybe even some time has gone by. Like Katara looks a little bit better when she was running from the Fire Nation. She was using ice. So it's like, okay, maybe there's been a couple weeks that we haven't seen, or maybe even a couple days. And they've gone on other journeys that we have not seen as an audience. And they even talk about it a little bit later where, like, pirates have ran into them and they went to the Great Divide. Like, they have done things now. Which is funny because if you look on the map of Avatar the Last Airbender, like there are certain things. Like I think the Great Divide is north of Haybice Forest. So why don't they go through the Great Divide and come back down? But anyway, that's a big nerd being a nerd. But it looks like they're going on other adventures. And then they jumped on Appa to get away. I mean, how do you feel about how that whole episode kind of started before we went into kind of other things?
I actually did like it. I liked how Katara was doing the ice discs. Because she started doing that move, I believe, against Paku in Siege of the North, and it was just good to see that and see how in the live action version how they portrayed it, and it was good. I liked it, and how they got away. Just reminded me of the cartoon a lot, with Appa saving their ass like every time of getting away. So yeah, I mean, I did like all of it. I didn't really understand Sokka's. And obviously, it's a very small point, but when Katara was like, "Yeah, like Sokka's love interest." We would have gotten away sooner, but he's like, how am I supposed to know she was a Fire Nation soldier? And I'm like, I don't think Sokka would have fell for a Fire Nation soldier. I think he would have known, because like in the original, he's like so anti-Firebender, so anti-Fire Nation that I didn't buy it. I didn't like that aspect.
It was like a throwaway.
I don't think it was good to the character.
Yeah, yes, and it was also a weird throwaway line. It's like if you're gonna do a throwaway line, it would have been more interesting for them to like refer to something. You know what I mean? Like even if it was something as simple as, and they haven't used the whistle yet, even though they showed the whistle, they kind of connected that with Boomy. But even if it was something as simple as them jumping on, and instead of the Fire Nation, it was pirates chasing them, and they're flying away, and Sokka's like, all that for a dang whistle? And he's like, I just had to have one, and it was like, cool. That's a cool reference to the show. We kind of, I'm sure there would have been some, but like, it could have been something interesting, right. And even if like, again, it's like, it's not good to steal. And then she's like, it's okay to steal from a pirate. It's like, cool. That's referring to the, like us fans can do that. And then also we could be like, cool, Aang has the whistle now. Right. They could have done something like that to kind of like just do a throwback to the show. A weird like Sokka talking about some like girl. It also kind of makes Sokka seem like, I mean, I know he was kind of like a ladies' man, I guess you could say, but it does seem where it's like, okay, we know Yue is going to be coming up in like 3 episodes. We just got Suki. Like it's like, man, he's really jumped. He's like really going after all the girls. So it is interesting that was the way to do it. Couple references. Another reference to Gran.
I go ahead.
She is. I'll just say they've referenced her like in every episode.
Like when
they love her.
Yeah, I I literally said, I was thinking when Katara was saying, like, when again, let's just dive in real quick to the scene of them when they see the Star of the Forest.
Okay.
Real quick, like, I liked that scene, the entirety of it, actually.
And then she talked about Grand Grand.
And then when she says Grand, this is literally my first reaction was like, when she said Grand says, I'm like, I don't care what Grand says at this point.
Yeah.
After seeing episode 1 of what she says, I don't want any part. I don't want any part of what Grand has to say.
And it's almost like everything that they're taking that Katara, because in the originals, Aang's looking at the forest and is, borderline crying because he knows that the Fire Nation is just destruction. He's more about nature, and then like a pine cone hits him in the head, or a seed hits him in the head, and then he's like, "Hey, what was that for?" And they made it like a little bit of a joke out of it, and then she's like, "See, this forest is going to grow back, all that," and it's like that again. It's like there's no need to really change it. I don't know if that's a rights thing where maybe like they literally can't go word by word, but like that scene was a good scene in Avatar, and they changed it to something else that was just not done as well. And even if it was her saying something to him, but by her saying Grand told her, it's like, man, Katara, every like wise thing you say or anything that's emotional, it's like Grand told you it. and it's like everything that like, it's like, wow, Katara is having this really good moment where she's telling Aang like something to like make him feel better or to encourage him or to give him strength on something or hope or whatever. And it's like, it's a Grand reference. And it's like, like, man, this Grand was wise as hell because she is just spit. She's wiser than Iroh at this point. But they did refer to a couple things in the show that in the anime that they did. I can't say his name, but the Pippin
Papadopoulos.
They referenced him. They referenced him. Sokka rhymes with Akka. I thought those were all like cute things because we know we're most likely not getting those scenes from Avatar because those are very like, we just know we're not going to get them. Bossing say stuff. So like they referenced that. I was cool with that. I thought that was kind of cool. Anything else about the forest part before we get into the little town?
No, we're good there.
Talk about? Okay.
No.
So yeah, we're gonna cut to the Fire Lord scene. And again, I keep saying, I think the girl that's playing Azula is not doing bad. A lot of people are crapping on her. She is not playing the role bad. Yeah, I don't think she's doing a bad job. It's just what they're making her do and what they're making her say. And Azula, it's just safe to say now, and I think that I'm starting. It's like going to therapy or something. Like I think we're at episode 5, and I'm like, I know this is not going to be the same. So just take it as it is. Like this is not our Azula. This is not going to be the same Azula. It is very much Azula is fighting for her father's love as much as Zuko is, and we just have to take that. We just have to understand that's how they're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain moments in the series where I agree with you, where like I just accept changes at this point, but it's about what are the changes, and I can't get behind this one.
It's almost like I agree with you. It's almost like just accepting a person for who they are. It's like I'm just kind of accepting the show did that, and as much as I don't like it, I'm not. I personally cannot continue hating. I didn't like that choice in episode 2, and I bashed episode 2 for it. So I'm moving on from it because it is what it is. Now I have to just judge it on what it is. So like I have to just judge the fact that it seems like Azula is trying to be a perfectionist for her father, and that is how she thinks she's going to get his love. And she is. I mean, you can see she's acting like season 3 Azula, where it's like you're starting to see the cracks
a little bit.
Like you're starting to see the cracks. Like don't treat me like Zuko in the finale, and like you're just starting to see it, like the anger. Like you almost look at Azula as a kind of a weaker character, where it was like you feared, even as an audience member, like when you heard the music of Azula come in, you were like, oh, time to fucking go. You're like, team, get on Appa and go.
Yep.
Like so, and I just don't feel that at this point.
Yeah.
Now, Azula did not have the blue flame. You saw kind of a small part of it, but It was red flames. Does that bother you?
A little, but here's the thing. I'm taking this now as like, obviously in the original we don't see Azula until the finale of season 1. Where here so in this one you're seeing her before that. So we don't know if she had red before that. We don't know. And so that's how I come to think of it.
Yeah. Like maybe her anger throughout this season, and then by the time we get to the end of the season, she'll show the blue flame.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I just don't like I in terms of Azula being a bad character, it's like who are the good characters besides Sokka? Katara's getting better. Who else? Like, I don't see anybody who's like a standout. There's nobody besides Sokka.
There hasn't been a standout yet.
And so like whenever I see Azula not be one, I'm just like, okay, another one that makes sense of not being a good character, because this whole entire series has been full of characters not living up to their potential. And
I agree. I think it's like Avatar the Last Airbender. When you watch Avatar the Last Airbender anime, it's like every character is either good to great. So it's odd when you see, like, for instance, I bash on Yue. I'm like, she's not a bad character. she's just not all the other characters. I'm like, and same with Boomy. Like, I'm not against the Boomy. It's just when I think of Boomy, when I think of all of the amazing characters, I don't think of Boomy. He's not even like in the top 15. He's a good character. He's fun, but like there's just so many great characters. Here it's the opposite. It's like, if you could just not be bad, it's a win. And that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like the guy that's playing Sokka is not doing anything special. It's just like he's kind of funny. That's about it. Like he has a couple one-liners. The sarcasm's there. Cool.
The dialogue's there for him.
The dialogue's there. They do it with the dialogue with him. So it's like I saw like a meme or something. He reminds me of, and I get it. I get it actually. National Treasures. Have you seen National Treasures?
Oh, of course.
Remember the friend? I forgot his name, but
Riley.
He kind of reminds me of Riley, which is odd because that's not Sokka at all, but like it kind of works. It works for what they're doing. Like it works. So, and that is very much kind of Sokka season 1, halfway through season 2. I mean, I think the whole gang matures after the Appa stuff. Like right when Appa, that whole like 7-episode arc, the gang very much matures.
Yeah.
Throughout that journey.
But here.
What?
But here, like, have they even been maturing, or have they, like, do you see any kind of growth?
No, but we're very early still. I will say something I've noticed with Aang is that it's just an Avatar, maybe because it was a children's show, or maybe because they didn't want to do what I'm about to say. But Aang just seems too gloomy all the time. In every episode, it seems like he's been kind of like in the anime, they did a good job with, unless the story needed it, he didn't really talk too much about like being upset that he ran away, and like he would try to be positive. It's almost like a depressed person that really tries to stay positive all the time, even though deep down they're depressed. It's kind of what Aang was, and like it's like every episode Aang's talking about how he's sad, and I get this episode needed it, but because they kept doing it, they did it in Omashu. They've done it every episode, so it's like, man, dude, like we're in episode 5 and you are still crying over it. And I think they needed it in the 2-parter of Omashu, because they made Boomy the way they did it. But if they made him what he was in the anime, then they did not have to do the whole Aang being upset, and they could have taken a break from that. You're going back to your point. You're completely right. I do not like any character besides Sokka. Maybe Zuko.
Well, is that a little bias or no?
No, because they changed Zuko so much. But I think the actor's doing a decent job. The anger that you said was missing is there. Mm-hmm. Which I was hoping I would see, but it it feels like in this episode they're starting to realize that Zhao is actually not on their side. So like, I'm actually starting to like that storyline. June is now in this episode, and will be in the next episode. So like, I kind of am liking what I'm seeing with the Iroh and Zuko stuff. Less of Iroh. Iroh is disappointing right now. But I would say again, I think every character has been disappointing besides Zuko. Not great, but just
And Sokka.
I'm not like super disappointed in Zuko or Sokka.
Yeah. I'm just here. For me, it's Sokka still. With I think Aang's like,
and Tenzin. Tenzin's all of a sudden the main character. Keeps popping up. Go ahead.
Yeah. You mean Gyatso?
That's what I meant. Gyatso.
I was like, wait a minute, we're not in Korra time.
But they referenced something from Korra, and I was like, we're already in season 3 of
I wouldn't
Korra?
be surprised if Tenzin showed up in Aang's.
I watch Korra. Let's just say this: I think about Tenzin way more than Gyatso. Like Gyatso's in what, maybe 2 episodes in Avatar the Last Airbender?
Yeah, what,
3
or 4? Yeah,
in the 61 episodes.
Yeah,
and he's been in all 5. All right, so let's talk about. They go to this small village.
Yeah.
And the just a man is there talking about the spirit attacking their village, or something out of this world is attacking their village.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit different. Well, they knew that there is the Heibai spirit in the anime taking people, so they changed some things around, reasonings behind it, I feel like, and there's just a couple of different things. But I mean, as of right now, we're about 15 minutes into this episode, and I'm like, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go to the spirit world. So let's talk about how they got into the spirit world. You can start. You can start this.
Oh, well, before touching on that, I'm gonna. I wanted to comment on the little girl with her doll.
Oh yeah, okay.
I thought, as soon as I saw her with the doll, I was like, "Oh my gosh, are they going to pay homage to Mrs. Pretty from the Jet episode in the anime?" And nope, didn't happen. Nope.
Yeah, if she was like Mrs. Pretty, she just says that.
Yeah, and so for the name, but I was like kind of disappointed, but it's fine. But the how they got into the spirit world, right? It's so Aang's there, Sokka's there, Katara's there, and apparently the swamp is there.
I wrote that down. I said swamp. I'm like, okay. So these are some of the things that I am. At first, I was writing down and I was pissed, and then like I started watching it more. By the way, very much It vibes, right? It a little bit. I'm almost okay with it, because you're not gonna have the swamp in season 2.
Yeah, I accepted it. I did.
Yeah, and it makes kind of sense for what they're trying to do, and because they don't have enough time to have like individual episodes with these characters, it's like, okay, I can see them going to the swamp. You see their biggest fear or why they are the way they are in certain ways, and I accepted it. I was like, you know what? If you're going to have them come into the spirit world and you're going to do it, I was okay with it. Now, another thing they bring up is the spirit of knowledge.
Wan Shi Tong.
Let's just talk about all of them. Wan Shi Tong, the fox, who's just this weird new character. And the face stealer.
Yeah.
And obviously, Heibai, like all the spirits, it seems like, are in this episode.
Yeah.
Do you dislike the idea of them putting it, like, again, it's usually spread out. They're all
I wish it was Heibai taking the creatures, and because they said it was Ko. I didn't like how Ko took them.
Yeah.
I wish they kept it with Heibai. I do like all their. I like all their designs. I like Ko. I like Heibai. I wish Heibai was a little bit bigger, but other than that, good. And then Wan Shi Tong, obviously good design. I disagree with him showing up here, and the
Yeah.
knowledge seeker, but the CGI was good for them.
They all look good.
But I do disagree with Wan Shi-tong showing up here. And it seemed like to be almost like as a good guy. So I did not appreciate.
Necessarily I don't think he's a bad guy. He was just a protector of knowledge.
Yeah, well, he made him. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say, though.
Yeah, he's like, he doesn't like the idea of people using knowledge for bad things, and that's what he thought the gang was doing. And I will say, if he shows up again in the library, it would be weird because the library is in our world, and then he pulls it back into the spirit world. But
Right.
if they make it work, it's like, okay, well, at least now the audience knows this character of the owl, and they're like, hey, this owl that helped us before, and then he turns on them.
Right.
So I could see that maybe working. I think Hey-Bye looked great. I think the face stealer scenes, like I say, kind of reminded me of it in the sense of like they relive a memory and then and you show. Yeah. You know, I wrote down the fact that I was like season 3 stuff, like we're seeing her mom die and all of that. You know, thinking about it, it's like I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm okay with seeing how her mom died in front of her, and they did it well. Like they made her look like she was about to waterbend the guy when he kills her. You know, it's like I think they did all of that well. Could it have been later? Sure, but again, it seems like they're doing a little bit more parallel storytelling, and then the made up things are things that we see in the past. So like anything that's actual Avatar: The Last Airbender anime canon, they're like making it part of the story, and then the flashback stuff is the things they're making up. That's what I've noticed. It is. That's what I've noticed. You know. Now Sokka with his father, as we just talk about these, kind of going out of order, but we're going to talk about the two visions.
Not a fan.
No,
that's not who Hakoda was, and it does a disservice to his character. I don't think Hakoda would have been that type of. Obviously, like all fathers do make mistakes, and maybe that's where they're trying to go with this here. But like, as an original cartoon fan, they never showed Hakoda being that type. Like their purpose was to have Hakoda be the father that we all want, right? Like that was the whole point of his character, and that I think they just did a disservice here.
Yeah, and by making Hakoda such a great father, it made Zuko's father even worse. You know,
right?
Like man, like ugh, this is what a good father looks like. You know, and yeah, it's very odd. You know, again, if I'm someone that's never watched Avatar the anime, I don't hate it because later on when Sokka will have those moments, he can look back at that. I guarantee you in the finale or at some time he's going to remember that memory, and or maybe for a negative reason, maybe he remembers that memory where it's like some people just can't save everybody or something, whatever the father said, and then when Yue dies, it triggers him. So it had to be for a reason. Again, they're making a lot of these changes, and it's like I'm hoping that these changes are for a reason because they want to show these characters in a different light.
Yeah.
And they want to do different things with these characters.
I would say I wasn't. I agree with showing, like with Katara's mom dying in front of her. Great idea. I just wasn't connected with it at all. Like it wasn't in a dramatic way that I thought it should have been. And then with Sokka's, I was semi connected with it, but like barely at all. Like I just wasn't connected to them at all. At all. And with Aang's, he doesn't see Toph. So how does that make you feel about that? He just sees his old home. His old home makes sense, right? Like if you're thinking about the swamp episode from an originality standpoint, you would think that Aang would be thinking about the Southern Temple, but he didn't. He never saw it happen. So it was about seeing Toph, about someone who he will meet. So how did you feel about not him seeing Toph?
Well, again, it's like it wasn't the swamp.
Was it though? I mean,
no, it was the spirit world. So like
they just with swamp aspects.
Exactly, but it would have been weird if he ran into Toph because it's so far away. Like in the anime, you see it, and it's two episodes later we meet Toph. I mean, I think they're just not teasing that at this point. To be honest, after watching this episode especially, I think what they're just trying to do is they're putting as much as they possibly can in season 1 when it comes to character like things, because they're hoping they get a season 2. You know, like different spirits, different characters, different things that are all in season 2. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. You know, and I just think they don't want to foreshadow something like Toph, because that'd be awkward. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I don't know. I'm okay. I'm okay with what they did. It was really interesting because I kept thinking, I was like, is this gonna be the face stealer?
Right.
When he was hugging him, I was like, hey, you went from I don't trust you to let me give you a hug, like within a second. Like,
yeah.
What do you think about Gyatso still being in the spirit world? Because I hated that.
It ruined plot points, but I don't mind. I actually don't mind it because it's one of those ones where like I'm just accepting it, even though I disagree. I wish, and we'll get to this. That was more of a like a Roku scene. That was like something where Roku would have advised him on and like and whatnot. And what I mean by plot points is like, you know, in season 2, like there's no guru telling them, hey, this isn't your fault. You couldn't have this, you know, this you could not have prevented this, and you probably would have died anyway.
Yeah, those are lessons he learns later. Yeah.
And so like I said, there's plot points I disagree with it, but I've come to accept it, even though I disagree with it.
Yeah, going to Aang really quick. He's such a forgettable character in this series. Seriously, I will say that like it is interesting how he kind of just had the knowledge of the spirit world. Like in the first time he goes into the spirit world, he does it on accident because he's chasing down, trying to get Sokka, and then accidentally, essentially, Heibai brings him there. You know, and then he doesn't get to literally learn, and he doesn't get to talk to Roku into the next episode because he knows, I think he's told that this winter solstice is the best time to talk to him. And so it's like, he doesn't really get the idea. Like, it seems like by this episode, it's like, can you just now always do this? Like,
when he says this town is beyond this world, I was like, how do you know? Right. like how do you know before you go into the spirit world? Like, were you here before? Then the audience knows? Like, no. So yeah, I totally, yeah. I'm just building off your point.
About, just like, things that they do that, like, it could have been something as simple as them getting there and there's a house that's destroyed. He's like, Fire Nation got you. Oh my gosh. He's like, no, that was the Heibai spirit. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, there's a spirit that's tormenting us ever since these firebenders, you know, there's been these spirits and these attacks and people are missing. They could have done the same concept, but maybe Katara and Sokka go with him and they all get trapped. And now you're playing out what you're playing out. And I'm okay with what they're doing with this swamp spirit episode. Like, I was okay with that. But how they got there, it was just, Aang had knowledge that we didn't know he had, or how did you get this knowledge?
I don't like how Sokka and Katara were in the spirit world to begin with.
No, me neither.
It doesn't make sense to the plot or anything for that matter.
Yeah.
It was bad.
So going through here, man, let's just jump right to, let's kind of go away for a little bit and go to the scene with Zuko, Iroh, and June.
Yes. Okay.
And Shirshu as well, which looks good. All the creatures are looking great.
Right.
That was done. The one thing that was done well, and in my opinion, it was almost as kind of very similar as the anime did it. It was funny that she was like, I just, you know what I was gonna say, like, oh, your grandpa's kind of, or your dad's kind of cute. I'm like, what? Like, you're like, for one, why would you think that? Like, number two, like, that's such a weird thing for her to say. But like
because they're doing the opposite. They're
doing the opposite.
In this live action series, they've been doing opposite of what the show does in certain situations, and this was one of them.
Yeah, because it's just like that was such a great line, and it's just like whatever, man. Like whatever. They are doing the opposite, and they're trying to take us for like a like the change of direction, and and it's some of it's working, but like a lot of it's just like okay. Well, but did you like that scene? What did you think about all of that?
Good. It was good overall. Like I agree with it. Again, it was like Iroh's character, his development isn't. I've said it from day one. I did not like him in episode 1, and it's just been proven to just not live up to potential and standards that Iroh deserves as a character. And so but the scene in general, loved it. For the most part, besides like the pie show thing with Iroh, I thought that was a little little semi cringe there.
What are you talking about?
The pie show thing. He's like, you never know what you can learn from unskilled pie show people, huh? And
yeah,
but one thing that I think I'd hope you'd agree with me here is Zuko would never have given that tavern keeper money to tell him where the Avatar was. I really did not like that.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on.
Yeah, I actually when he did that, I know I was like, Zuko wouldn't do that. To be fair though, I mean they do pay her.
They pay her. I'm talking about the innkeeper, the tavern keeper. He would have like shoved him against the wall and tell him like, "Have you seen the Avatar lately?"
Yeah.
Like remember, like
literally, yeah. Like it would have been. He would have done something along the lines of like, he would have shot something on fire and then been like, "I would hate for the whole cabin to burn like that," or something, you know. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just I know at this point, like episode 1, I did it, and episode 2, I did it. Episode 2, I did it a lot. Because episode 1 was very much trying to paint by the numbers of what the series was, and episode 2, since then, it's like, you know, I'm going to take things as they're I cannot nitpick on certain things with characters because these I'm looking at it as a different show. These are not the characters at all. I haven't heard. He hasn't even said honor yet. I mean, well, I'm mad that he's handed someone money. I mean, he hasn't talked about his honor. He hasn't talked about redeeming himself to his father. How am I going to get mad about him handing a guy money? Like, so, I mean, I mean, I can't be mad about, I'm not going to be mad about Katara. Katara, I mean, she said hope one time. I don't think she said hope once. She touched her necklace one time. I mean, there hasn't been really anything. Going back to the necklace real quick, it will be interesting to see how Shearshu will be able to track the team. Maybe it's going to be a different way. You know what I mean? Because
that's a good point.
Before they used her necklace that he got a couple episodes earlier. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they're probably going to do something different. Shearshu will probably be able to fly. All we know. I mean,
at this point, we don't know. At this
point, all we know. I mean, because it's weird because they have Shearshu. Aang's going to Roku, which I will say, I said yesterday or the other day that I was like, well, what's the point of Roku? They made a new storyline to make it make sense for him to go talk to Roku because Roku has taken down the face dealer. I don't hate that at all.
I don't hate it either.
It makes sense. I just kind of wish, to be honest, it was flipped. Would have been interesting for them to be like, yeah, this badass Kyoshi took down face dealer. But
then that would have portrayed the Kyoshi storyline, that would have continued the Kyoshi storyline for the show.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he would have never had the Kyoshi jumping in before. Like at this point, we know who Kyoshi is because we went to Kyoshi Island, heard about her. We already met Avatar Roku, in my dream scenario, and then maybe at this point it's like, yeah, Kyoshi, and he's like, oh, well, I've heard of Kyoshi. I kind of know who Kyoshi is. But again, I mean, I'm okay how they do it. I'm okay. I'm not hating what they do. It is gonna be interesting because it's like, how is Shearshu going to chase down Aang when Aang's on the island? Not Roku's island, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do.
Well, remember what June said. I mean, I'm just basing this off of the original. June says that a Shearshu can smell a person a continent away, so they can
Yeah.
go past water.
Yeah.
And so they don't use Zuko's boat to get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. True. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, to be honest, that's pretty much everything. I mean, we're pretty much through the episodes. Is there anything that I'm missing?
Let's see what my little notes say, shall we? Yeah, no, we got it.
No, I mean, to be honest, because I don't know if it's me just having like a inner therapy with myself, being like, look, things are changing. Or I think this episode changed things, but I would say this episode changed things, but the things they changed and the way they did it makes sense to fitting things into the story that they're now creating. Where the last two episodes, it was like, is there a reason why you're making Boomy the way he is, or is it just to be different? Because you could tell the same exact story, and when Aang goes up there and Katara and Sokka are going through the tunnel, and Aang goes up there, he doesn't act like he knows who Aang is. Then they fight, and then the whole thing happens. It's like, oh, I did this test. I'm your friend. Oh, cool. And it's like, oh, sweet. And then like Katara and Sokka run in. They're like, we'll save you. And he's like, dude, he's cool. Like he's my friend. You know what I mean? But instead, they changed it to this weird, cheesy thing.
Right.
The changes they did in this episode, I'm like, okay, cool. Now we have a new reason to go to Roku. Makes sense.
Right.
I know you didn't like them going in the spirit world. I didn't either, but it made sense. It worked for me.
I agree. Yeah.
So like, everything they're doing to change things does make sense.
I'm just more pessimistic than you are, just a little bit.
Yeah, you are.
I agree with what you're saying.
I will say that I'm giving this another positive review.
Wow.
I think the writing was a lot better. It's almost like it's so weird because it's almost like, you know how like movies and shows are shot not necessarily in order. It's like the director and the writer are writing these in order. It's like the writing is getting better as the show goes on.
Yeah.
In the same, like they shot this all together. It's almost like they watched the first 3 episodes and they're like, we gotta do better writing. It's like the writing in this episode was like, I didn't cringe at all. I didn't cringe at all.
Mm-hmm.
Story made sense. The plot was decent. I liked what they're doing with Zuko in this episode. Like I liked what they did with everything. I mean, we went through this review pretty quick because there's not that many complaints on my end.
No, I mean, your complaints are also my complaints. Your positives are not where I'm at with that, but but I agree I agree with you for the most part. It's just about like the level of agreement.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think I am now open. I'm out enlightened. I am open. I am open to change.
You open a chakra.
I open a chakra. I'm like, you know what? I understand this show. I said it going into it. I remember I was like, I know this isn't going to be the same show, so I'm just going to base it on its own thing. And then like within 2 episodes, I was like pissed off that they used Yoshi. But like I'm really trying to do better. It's like I'm really trying to like watch it as its own and be like, as long as they don't ruin anything. So, and I don't think they've ruined anything in this episode. Like, sure, did they show that face stealer way too soon? Did they show, the knowledge spirit way too soon? Did they do certain things that are way different? But it's like, yeah, but it still worked. So.
Sure. What was your score? That's where I'm trying to get, but I'm trying to get it out of you right here, right now, sir.
I gave it 3.2, 3.25.
Okay.
What about you?
-4. I gave it a 2.
Okay. So yeah, this is because I gave episode 1 3.5, episode 2 1.75, episode 3 I gave a 3.25, episode 4 I gave a 0.75, and episode 5 I gave a 3.25. So this show is very much like, for me, now over 5 episodes in, I'm like, this show is very episode to episode hit or miss.
True.
When it hits, it's not like out of the park hit. It's like a okay, it's a 3, 0.25 out of 5. When it misses, it misses.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that just comes down to writing and how they mix things together and make it make sense.
Right.
That's why I've come. Like, I don't love any of these characters. I think the CGI is hit or miss throughout the whole show. Like, I'm kind of episode to episode, I'm just starting to realize, like, now that we're at episode 5, like, I'm just starting to realize I'm kind of thinking the same things as I'm watching it. It's like, it's just like, are you putting things together, making it still make sense to where we're going to go? Or are you trying to change up too much stuff? And if you are changing up things, are you at least making it decent? And then is the writing good? Where I'm at.
That is fair.
You hate everything.
I just like Sokka's character, and the dialogue's still trash, even though it's getting better.
By season 3, we're gonna have some Emmys.
If only in their dreams.
Yeah, I feel sorry for these kids. I really do. Like, I just, you could just tell. I'm like, man, the kid that's playing Aang is trying so hard.
Yeah.
And you can just tell that, like, they want this so bad, and they're not amazing, but they're not horrible. Like, they're meh actors, but they're given such bad dialogue that it's like, gosh.
I know.
And the only reason why Sokka's making it work is because most of his dialogue is one-liners, sarcasms, stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, well, he said something in this episode. I wrote it down. He said, he said something funny. I don't remember what it was, but he said something, and it was like, that was actually pretty funny. Like, I was like, I think that might be the funniest thing he said all episode.
Was it whenever he enters the spirit world? Because that was kind of funny.
What did he say?
I don't remember, but was it what he said something when he entered the spirit world? Was it that or
remember.
no? Okay.
I don't remember, man. I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. But I just thought it was pretty funny.
Cabbage Crew, comment below on what Matt and I are trying to come up with here with the quote.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What was your? How about this? What is your favorite Sokka line from the anime? Not this or this. If you feel like
not this or this.
If you really think that it's in here, if you think it's in here, God bless you. I'm not gonna. I can almost guarantee you the favorite Sokka line is not. You know what? You can even you can throw the live action movie in there. If you think there's a funny one from the live action movie, go at it. But what is your favorite Sokka line? Because he's doing a good job, and I love the original Sokka. So,
what's your favorite Sokka line?
What's my favorite Sokka line?
What's your favorite Sokka line?
I don't have to think about it. We'll talk about that next time.
Okay.
All right. Subscribe.